Welcome back to the final portion of Module 1, Lesson 5, Part 4. So the Spanish are going to Florida with Ponce de Leon. They're going to Mexico City with Cortez. They're going to Santa Fe with Coronado. And the local populations, the native populations, are going to have some difficulties accepting the changes that the Spanish want to impose. Specifically, they're going to resist being turned Christian, and they're going to oppose the Spanish culture, the custom, the language, the dress, and everything else that comes Spanish. They're saying, hey, we've been here for thousands of years. I think we got it. And the Spanish are going to say, no, you don't, and you need to follow these customs. And as this conflict starts to develop, and we're going to look specifically in New Mexico, which is going to be the colony of New Mexico, not the state. And we're going to look at it as the perspective of a kid and a step-parent. So the Spanish are going to come in and they're going to smash sacred objects for the native population. And the way this would be in a kid step-parent is that step-parent comes in and takes a cup that was given to you by your grandmother and just smashes it. And to the parent, to the step-parent, it's just a cup. But to you, it meant the world because that was the only thing that you had of your grandmother's. And that's going to cause conflict. Then you have every year on your birthday, you do a certain thing. You go to a certain place for a meal, or you have a certain movie that you watch, and you just have this tradition that's what we do on my birthday. Well, what the Spanish did is these customs, these traditions that the Native Americans had, they just canceled them. They stopped doing them. And so on your birthday, you wake up all excited, and then you find out that your step-parent said, oh, no, it's just a Tuesday. Sorry. Oh, it's your birthday? No worries. Conflict. Then you have this other portion where step-parent says, okay, you got a job. You're going to need to give me some of that money to help pay for your electric or pay for your phone or pay for the insurance for your car, which relates to the Spanish having the Native American population pay a tribute to be able to exist. So if you've ever had to contribute to the food budget or the electric budget or the phone budget, this idea is what the Spanish were doing on a large scale with the Native Americans. And at times, you're asked to do things for your parent or for your step-parent, such as get a remote or get a drink or do something. And what the Spanish were doing with the native population prior to 1542 was to say, okay, you're working for us. You're going to be our slave labor. You go get that drink. Go mow the lawn. Go do this for me. And that relationship becomes really tense. And sometimes that relationship gets so tense that the kid gets really frustrated and stops doing stuff. And then the step-parent comes in and says, okay, if you don't do this, I'm going to have to hurt you. I'm going to have to beat you. I'm going to have to whip you. You're going to have to do something physical to get you back in line. And that's what the Spanish were doing with the native population that didn't follow the directions. And so as this tension starts to develop in the New Mexico area, the native population says, we're not taking it anymore. And between 1680 and 1694, the guy on the left here by the name of Pope, not Pope, but Pope, he is going to lead a rebellion by the Pueblos to gain control of their territory again, to kick the Spanish out. Well, for 14 years, the Spanish are kicked out. And it's a relatively okay place for the native population, specifically the Pueblos, to live. But when you get kicked out of a place that you want to be, you're not very happy. So what happened is that the Spanish come back and life for the local native population becomes even worse than it had been before 1680, unfortunately. Now, this next screen has nothing to do with what's happening in the southwest portion of what will become the United States. But it does have something to do with going into the next module. In 1588, the Spanish Armada is going to be defeated by the British Navy. Okay, now up until 1588, the Spanish Armada, the Spanish Navy, is the most powerful naval force ships in the world. Okay, they've been controlling the oceans basically since 1492. And in 1588, the British are going to defeat the Spanish Armada, which is going to open up the Atlantic Ocean to British vessels being able to sail relatively freely across the ocean. And as a result, the reason why we talk about the English colonies in America is because of this defeat in 1588. So England/Britain, same people, they now have an open route to settle North America. And with this opening, they are going to start to develop what will become the 13 colonies, which will be developed after the Revolutionary War into the United States. And at this point, we kind of stopped talking about the Spanish and the development of the United States, but we will see them occasionally. But basically, we're putting the Spanish on hold. And that's the conclusion to Module 1, Lessons 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And by this point, your big review sheet should be done and ready for a quiz to prep you for the first half of your test. Remember, the two things you can control are your attitude and your effort.